everybody. Welcome to the first Friday of the month, which means it is Dungeon Masters Guild Design Dash time. Is everybody excited for the weirdest, most chaotic D&D game show slash only D&D game show out there? I sure am, but it doesn't matter. It really matters if those three are. Anyway, I'm Lysa Penrose. I am the brand manager of Dungeon Masters Guild. If this is your first time tuning into the Dash, then prepare yourself. We are going to be challenging these three to a D&D design off with only 15 minutes on the clock. They'll get a secret theme. It's a bit like the Iron Chef or Project Runway, but D&D design. And today we're joined by a very special co-host, no longer in the hot seat, Omega Jones, the Critical Bard themselves.
Hi, hope you all are having a wonderful time zone wherever you are. I'm very glad not to be stressed this time.
Do you want to tell folks who you are in case they somehow don't know?
Oh, that's probably something I should do. Hi, my name is Omega Jones, also known as Critical Bard. Critical Bard across all social media channels. I am a professional actor and vocalist out of the Midwest. Is what I do before I became a tabletop professional. I am in multiple D&D and tabletop games all throughout the week, including Dungeons and Durags, which is an all-black cast D&D campaign that I run on twitch.tv/INDG. And many other things. I've also created a couple of things in DM Skill. That's actually something else I have in the works right now, but I won't talk about that. But all of my things have been musical themed. I've done 2 musical subclasses so far, the College of Acapella and the Path of the Belter, which is for a bard and barbarian, respectively. I just like to have fun and make trouble wherever I go.
Yay, I can't wait. I'm going to be asking you about those creations of yours while our folks design, but let's meet our contestants today. Returning to the arena is our latest Design Dash champion, Philippa. Philippa, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Philippa Mort. You can find me mostly on Twitter at MortPhilippa. I did okay last time, so I'm back. Some things you may know me from on the DMs Guild are my latest release is Monsters of Candlekeep, which is like a bestiary of loads of monsters and libraries, and various adventures like Temple of the Goddess and, Spiretop, Intrigue in the Aracocra City. I do lots of different things, mostly slightly more cute or fun, socially things mostly, but a bit of everything.
Exciting. So this is your second time in the Dash arena. What advice are you willing to share with RP and Cassandra going into this?
Mostly passing on from what others have said, which is just go for it. As soon as you have the idea, just start going and make the idea that you have better rather than trying to switch halfway through because you won't have enough time.
Yeah. Great advice. A lot of folks, their top thing is don't overthink. Just go, go, go. And moving along, we have RP Davis, a prolific creator on Dungeon Masters Guild. RP, tell us about yourself.
Hi there. I'm so happy to be here. This is just awesome. I've been watching this for a long time, and I'm so glad to be able to finally, meet people who I've been speaking to online for ages, and finally, it's great. It's lovely. I make a lot of stuff. I lack focus, and I have the privilege to have time to do things like the Encyclopedia Formulae Arcana, which is my and Brian Holmes' attempt to take every single freaking spell from BECMI all the way up through 4th edition and convert it to 5e. And I think we've made it in the past 18 months up to letter H.
Ooh,
it's so many spells.
That's a feat still.
It's slow going. We had in the beginning we're like, we'll do one a month. But anyway, so I do a lot of spells, magic items. I do a lot of I do very little adventure content, believe it or not. I think what people might know me best for is Jarl Axel's Guide to Traps, a team that I led that basically took the old Grimtooth's Traps books from way back in the 70s, took that concept and went 5e with it. Stuff that's going to turn your player characters to a fine red mist.
Oh, goodness gracious. So RP, what did you do, if anything, to prepare for Design Dash today?
I sat around today and philosophized a lot. One of the things that Kabouter Games, which is my very tiny Pico publishing brand, likes to do is old school stuff. So I sat around today and confirmed to myself that Encounter CR is not worth worrying about.
Good choice, honestly.
You tell me this is a tier 1 encounter. Okay, shower of mimics. Because my philosophy is if they haven't learned by now to run away, they don't deserve to be 5th level.
Gosh, that's the attitude we're bringing into the arena. I hope Philippa and Cassandra look out. Moving along to Cassandra, introduce yourself, please.
I am Cassandra MacDonald. I operate in the very goth and spooky or very bright and cheery ends of the spectrum and literally nothing in between. I am either grimdark or sugar and sweetness, and I will not change. My breakout works are Skullport Shadow of Waterdeep and Once Bitten, both of which are on the grimdark side. And I also play on the Mysteries of the Mournland podcast. Which is the advanced 5th edition podcast we have going, which is also on the grimdark side. So I guess I'm not selling myself very well.
Well, I mean, you are kind of touching on the question I wanted to ask you, which was, what do you expect us to see of your design style today?
Today, very quick. Hopefully. I really like encounters that pull the rug out of what you would normally expect out of a D&D encounter. I'm not big on a bunch of monsters jump out of the bush. I did grow up with the old school style, but I like to think that I take it in a whole weird direction. So yeah, hopefully it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if it's weird, it's on brand for Design Dash, so I encourage it. I also want to shout out a comment in the chat by Rav Bunny, which is that CR equals consider running. I've never heard that before. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Filing that away.
Fair.
It's true.
Consider that janked. That's mine.
Absolutely. So in moments, I will be revealing to you your secret theme, for which you will have 15 minutes to design an encounter. But before I do, I want to remind folks in chat that Omega and I will be putting together a rubric as folks are designing. We need your help to figure out the scale for the rubric, as well as 3 categories where we can reward superlatives at the end. So I don't know, like funniest encounter or scariest encounter.
How many times you can say Omega in an encounter?
Yeah.
I'm kidding, don't do that.
And usually we tie it to the theme, which I'm about to reveal. All right. So usually the theme has to do with something that D&D is doing, but a friend of Dungeons and Dragons has something really special happening this weekend. I know there are some folks in chat who they're friends of. Omega, you're a friend of this person as well. Friend of D&D, friend of Design Dash, friend of my other show, D&D Community. Friday afternoon tea is getting married. So with that, our theme today is wedding bells.
Ooh.
Bet you weren't expecting that one. You have 15 minutes to design wedding bells. I'm going to give you till 25 past the hour. Dash away.
Oh, joy.
Yep. Omega and I will be chatting, so feel free to mute us or take your headphones off if we are a nuisance in your ear. But Omega, what goes through your mind? Or you've been on Design Dash so many times. Does your brain automatically now start to think, well, this is what the encounter will be?
The first 10 seconds is the most stressful part. Cause you're like, what do I do? And then all of a sudden your brain just clicks and you get to work. Because in my opinion, that's what you have to do. You can't sit there and waste. You only have 15 minutes. You can't waste any of that time trying to figure out what it is. You just have to kind of go with the first. It's like, when they say your first response is normally the true response that you have. The first thing you think of is probably the thing you're going to be able to bring the most, or be able to flesh out the best. So use that and run with it. It might not be good, but just have fun.
Yeah. What if you were designing an encounter? What would your wedding bells encounter be? First thought.
So the first thing I thought of was bells, but not like actual bells. I actually went to Disney Bell.
Okay.
So I can already say I was thinking of something with a Fairball or a bugbear and a princess. I was going there automatically.
I love that. I love that. Oh gosh, Honey Badger in chat says the bard and the dragon finally tie the knot. Oh my gosh, Rav Bane has a scale suggestion for us, which is Rubric cube. That makes me a little bit angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wedding bell party favors that are actually juvenile mimics of the mimic church bells. That's a good idea too. Oh, chat, feel free to dash alongside if you want.
Yeah, you could also be like, instead of you're like, the people who ring the bells, like I forgot exactly what they call them. I'm the musician and I don't know these things.
I don't know.
But you could be like a bell ringer, sure, and you're late to the wedding.
Yes.
Or something.
I feel like I would design an encounter where like there's the different steps of the ceremony and stuff, like design the whole ritual. Like an encounter doesn't always have to be a fight.
No, yeah.
But folks in chat, so we have Rubric cube as a scale. I would love to throw out the suggestion of 1 to 5 party favors.
Okay.
But chat, throw out your ideas, and then also get us some category suggestions. Omega, I don't know if there's any that you want to throw out for their consideration.
I mean, I'm not gonna persuade you. I think the coolest thing about I'll say this: in the past, the 3 things that we graded on have been specific, and then no one went in that direction at all, which kind of makes it fun.
Yeah.
So I feel like that. Ooh, most romantic.
I love that idea. That's great for this. Okay, we're gonna use that for sure. Most romantic. Most wedding crashers.
Most wedding crashers. Interesting.
Most wedding crashers. I love this. Most twisted.
Most or least objections. Like, does anybody object?
Yeah.
Or, speak now, forever hold your peace.
Most or least objections. I'll write down all the good ones, then we can pick 3.
Yeah.
Most twisted. I wonder if Cassandra saying she might get weird.
Most awkward family members.
Oh my gosh. Most awk. We're taking.
I feel like we need most groomsmen or bridesmaids type of thing.
Largest wedding party?
Yeah, largest wedding party, yeah. Because if the adventuring party could be the wedding party.
Oh, cool, yeah. Largest wedding party.
Oh my gosh. Now as we do this, I have to figure out in a campaign that you've played that you've loved, and someone got married, who would be what? Who would be the ring bearer? Who would be the best man, bride's maid of honor?
That's a really fun thing to figure out. Who would you trust with different responsibilities? I feel like most things I would be in, I don't know if I would trust my fellow party members any sort of responsibility. Oh, Honey Badger says drunkest uncle. All of the party members would be the drunkest uncle. Let's take a little peek at the beginnings of each person's design. I'm looking at Philippa's right now, and she has started the top with ideas: bells, mimics, big old bell boss. That's cool. Like a boss, like a bell that you fight. Wedding goes fine, but something else goes wrong. And the
Interesting.
title we have is A Very War-Forged Wedding, which I
That's
wonder,
If
is
the
that,
Warforged is the bell.
yeah, like, is that where that mental leap came from?
Interesting.
Ooh, Al John Jones is coming with some great category suggestions. Most interesting wedding ritual. That's cool.
That's
Most
really cool, actually.
interesting
Yeah. What makes
ritual.
it a wedding?
Yeah.
And what makes that
Like,
interesting?
does anyone focus on that? Okay. That's
Exactly.
the beginning of Philippa's. RP. Fancy font. Made the font small. I'm not going to change it now while he's in the midst of editing, but I'll make it larger
Yes.
later so you all can read it. Kiss the bride. I'll just read the first sentence, or a couple sentences. In the spring, it's traditional for the devoted worshippers of Lathander to celebrate their nuptials. In the North Ward of Waterdeep is a park, a green and pleasant place, often rented by couples wishing to wed. Oh, we're getting like a whole, I don't know if that's like actual Waterdeep lore or RP's making that up, but
Probably
I like
making it
that.
up, but yeah, I do like the idea of fleshing out some lore and customs in like already established places because you can do that. It doesn't lay out everything for you.
Yeah. And especially on Dungeon Masters Guild, where you're like specifically able to write in existing settings, that's like taking the most advantage of the license that you have on Dungeon Masters Guild if you're creating for the guild. Let's take I'm wondering if we decide to go with most interesting ritual. It seems like RP's maybe going in that direction.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. Cassandra. Okay. Cassandra's design is called the Queen's Wedding, which seems like this might be the prettiest wedding.
Yeah, potentially.
Invited to the wedding of Queen Marbreth and King Road. However, there's trouble in paradise, as a long-forgotten arrangement with the Fae that once blessed the kingdom has gone awry.
Dun dun dun.
Those Fae. Oh my gosh, never say dice.
Okay, I actually love that.
The groom is a patron and the bride is a warlock, and this is how they lock in their agreement.
I would actually play that out.
That's
because
so interesting.
I am an advocate for not every warlock patron connection being antagonistic. It makes no sense. Not every single last one.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the idea of people that is a true deal. That is a pact that you will not break.
Absolutely.
I might steal that.
Yeah, really interesting concept. And I agree. I love, most people go like the warlock who doesn't know who their patron is, or they like are trying to get out of the bargain or like trick their patron. They're having a loving, caring relationship with their patron is an interesting twist.
I wonder if we should have a category that's numerical. Because right now we have like best this and best that, or like number of blank. Like we could just have flat out number of bells. If we want to make it like an easy one.
I like that, since the topic was wedding bells. How many people latched onto the bell part? Okay, I like that a lot. So we're definitely gonna go with number of bells. Were there I liked, someone had like best outfit or something. I liked the idea of there being a best dressed one, but also most romantic was really good. Most awkward family member. Did you have favorites that folks were shouting out?
I really like the ritual one. I think that's just really cool.
Most interesting ritual.
Number of times the bell tolls. The bells toll. That's interesting.
I feel like I like that. It reminds me a lot of just number of bells, which I think if it's broader, we might be able to.
That is true. Yeah, if it's broader, yeah.
But maybe if the bell specifically tolls, we'll count that extra.
Yeah, like little bonus thing.
Yeah, that can be our secret category. The bell makes a sound.
Yes.
Folks in chat are really digging that Never Say Dice's suggestion. They want that for their character backstory.
It's good.
Oh my gosh, Honey Badger, the groom of the wedding has exes that will object. The exes are Jarlaxle, Xanathar, Elminster, Tasha, and Strahd.
So it's very much like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, I love that. That is so fun. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, on that wedding concept with the patron, I never like set it in stone, but it was very much what I was thinking. There was a what's the word I'm looking for? There was the production of A Midsummer's Night Dream, A Midsummer Night's Dream, sorry, and Puck and Oberyn were very much in a relationship. It was and there's pictures all across the internet. It's so cool. But like I made because I was looking at some of the lore and stuff, and Puck isn't in D&D, but Oberyn and Titania are. And I was like, so I want to have a warlock who becomes Puck. But Puck and Oberyn, and Oberyn is his patron, and I was like, they're definitely connected. So like technically that's wow. I love good ideas.
Whoa, sorry. Never Say Dice is expanding on their really cool idea. Thanks. It would be such an interesting dynamic. I also thought that someone's hexblade weapon is actually their deceased spouse whose soul took over the weapon. Rather than being sad about their death, they just go on adventures they didn't have in life.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
That is kind of deep, but also like, that's cool.
Yeah. Never Say Dice, Honey Badger, come on in. Come join the dash. Throwing out some really great ideas. So fun. Okay, I'm going to just executive decision, most romantic I'm putting as the third category. I think that's a great one that someone could potentially have the most romantic encounter.
So what about 3?
Number of bells, most interesting ritual, and most romantic. We don't have a scale, and if we don't think of one, it has to be Rubric cube. So someone throw out other scale ideas. Please.
We're not doing this today. We're not doing this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we can there was party favors. I don't want to say rice. You like throw rice or or
grains
flowers.
Of rice.
1 to 5 flower
Rose petals.
1 to 5 wedding rings.
Yeah.
A wedding band.
Everyone gets one. Scales of justice. No, that's also a pun. Rav, stop it.
We're not doing this.
Oh, you made me say it like I was so. Did you hear my voice? I was so excited. It was a different
1 to 5
suggestion.
wedding crashers.
Okay, all right. Grin and Greg, we're gonna take the wedding crashers one. 1 to 5 wedding crashers. Done.
How many people crash your poor wedding?
Yeah.
Based on how. And keep in mind these scores are objective. So like, it's not like we're saying one's better than the other. But yes, I think yes, the more crashing of weddings, the better.
Yeah. Sometimes it's really funny when someone's encounter is really good but has nothing to do with the rubric.
That's been me. I think at least 2 of the 3 times I was on.
Does it feel bad when you get lower rubric scores?
It's not that it feels bad, but it makes me go. Because again, it felt like some of the at least ones in the past were like very much like. I think when we get the title, most of us automatically go outside the box and not what it is. Yeah. And most of the rubrics have been like what it is.
Okay.
So like, it's not bad at all because we still get points and we still get in there. But yeah, it was like, how many like jokes or something? And then I was like, I have no jokes in here. This is not a joke, you want. Oops.
I don't even know what the rubric was. Don't want to know. I'm as done as I can be.
Oh, wow, with a minute to spare.
Look, I was struggling.
Flexing on Philippa and Cassandra there.
I got nothing else. So I had mimics on the brain, so that's where we are.
All right. Hi, Bunker Man. It's my husband. Thanks for watching the show.
It's always good.
As we said, if you are done, once we do time, Lysa is going to up the sizes of your post so we can see it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In fact, if you're done, I'll do that right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I say at time, but
there you go. I'm excited. We read the first couple sentences, and we're really excited to see what direction you went. especially with the rubric, which I will share with everybody. But it is time. Okay, hold on. I'm going into the chat. Time.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm changing
Dun,
my
dun, dun.
background.
I'm bringing...
Time. It is time. Red time.
Oh, no.
Whoa! The special effects on Design Dash today.
Very cool. Very cool.
I thought we were going to get a cheap Pink Floyd gag, but hey.
All right. Welcome back. How was that?
Very fun. Not gonna
Good.
lie. The second you
Nobody
said
even-
Wayne Bells,
nobody-
I freaked out.
Cassandra didn't notice when I put my glasses on, so I'm going to count that as a win.
Oh, I was too focused. Damn. I forgot to make fun of your nerdy glasses.
Haha. Well, you can do it now. Ready?
Wow, did you get that off the shelf at an Indigo?
No, at a convenience store. They're
Oh,
reading
wow.
glasses. So I've got
Oh,
this.
Jesus.
I got these. I've got those. I sit on
so
them.
many. Oh,
So,
okay. So you're
They're
prepared.
reading glasses. They're like $10 a pair. So
That's
it's I cry when I break them, but I break them all the time and I lose them. So
Philippa, how was your second time in the arena compared to your first time?
It was good. I took a slight bit longer to think of my idea, but once I got it, I was excited.
Nice. I saw a very Warforged wedding. We read
Yes.
your ideas that you had and then your title. And I'm very excited to see how we think we guessed how your idea list links to your title. But I'm excited to see. Okay, but before we jump into it, our rubric, we are grading on a scale of 1 to 5 wedding crashers. The categories in which you will be scored are number of bells, most interesting wedding ritual, and most romantic encounter. Oh,
not
everybody's face. Philippa seems pretty pleased.
0 and nuh-uh.
Well, we'll be the ones to decide.
Yeah, we're in the judge boxes.
I made one gay. How many points does that work?
Oh, that is like the bonus category. That counts as
Nice.
1,000 bells.
Hey.
All right. Philippa, walk us through a very Warforged wedding.
Yeah, so I actually, as you can see, I actually got rid of the other ideas. That was brainstorming, and I was like, nah, don't want any of those. So they may not actually link that much. So a very Warforged wedding. Sonora, who is a Warforged covered in bells, and Patches, a patchwork copper Warforged, who are fellow Warforged ex-fighters who now live in Sharn in Eberron, want to get married, but they need the perfect ring. As Warforged, they want something really binding to exchange parts of their own armor and therefore themselves, and forge it into 2 rings that they can wear forever and remind themselves of each other, even when they are apart.
So
Um,
romantic.
so- The adventurers need to venture down underneath Sharn, which I forgot the name of, but there's sort of these underground tunnels and like lava and things. So they need to go underneath Sharn to the Warforged Enclave, to the workshop forge, so that they can forge these rings. So you have to find the entrance. So you go down to Lower Sharn, got to avoid various Boromar clan thieves, changelings wanting to pickpocket you, various ne'er-do-wells to find one of the gates that lets you access beneath the city. Lower Sharn in particular is filled with various monsters and constructs the upper city will not clean up. So you find a gate which is guarded by a chimera unleashed from a wizard's unlicensed workshop. And to open this gate, it has these sort of deadbolts, and so someone must spend an action to undo a deadbolt around the gate while everyone else stops this chimera from trying to eat you all. And so there are 6 bolts in total, and you can eventually access beneath the depths of the city. Part 2. You must escort Sonora and Patches down beneath Sharn to the forge. So there's various hazards, molten metal, which acts much like lava, that you've got to be careful of not standing in, various disenchanted warforged who mistrust those from above, scary constructs like animated armor, and they're all roaming around these tunnels. You've got to sneak past them using a DC 12 stealth check to get past. Sonora and Patches can help if you get into any trouble, but also they haven't fought since the morning, so the war in Eberron, so they need to be protected. Also, Sonora is like wearing her wedding dress, which is covered in lovely white bells, ready for them to get married later, so you need to make sure she doesn't get dirty. For example, you might want to give her help actions to succeed at dexterity saves to not, fall against walls and get coal on herself and things like that. So you travel down to part 3, the bridge over the Molten Chasm leading to the main forge. But, oh no, this is guarded by Buttress, a Lord of Blades, Warlock, and Warforged, who is also Sonora's ex. He
Rip.
fled down here after she got with Patches. They all used to fight together, but Sonora preferred Patches' kind heart more than Buttress's strength. So you either need to fight Buttress and his minions Clunk, Hatchet, and Martin on the bridge, and making sure you don't fall off into the molten metal.
Martin.
Or you could work out how to talk to Buttress and convince him to let you pass. So if you don't find out anything else, it's going to be a DC 20 charisma persuasion. It's going to be really hard. But you could sneak off and try and talk to his minions to find out more about him. So, for example, he prizes strength because he's a buttress. He was a defender, and he was originally made to like protect others. So maybe you can talk him around. But either way, you need to get past him. And eventually you reach the forge. Sonora removes 2 tiny bells from next to her heart, and Patches removes a strip of copper from his chest plate, and they forge them into 2 rings. Also, they kiss, and it is cute. And then they happily ever after have a beautiful wedding.
I am doomed for this wedding this weekend because I'm tearing up over this Warforged
What
encounter.
the heck?
I'm just imagining my friend getting married,
So
okay?
sweet.
I know.
Can I just concede now? I mean,
Philippa.
that's
That's so good.
stunning.
That's
See-
so
Yeah.
fun.
In a previous one that I did, I made bees who were super queer in love, but you just like made this like so much better. Like my heart, and I love Warforged, so like this is
That's
just
adorable.
Yeah. I was like, what should I do? And then I was like, oh, I love Warforged and I love Eberron. Let's do Eberron. Yes.
Yes. I
I
think.
am full of suck.
Oh no, no,
No,
no,
I
no.
haven't seen yours yet. Don't say
I
that.
promise you're not. I promise you.
Here we go.
I loved even like the details that you put in. Things like their names made it really fun and playful. Even just that you're like doesn't just remove bells, but 2 tiny bells from next to her heart makes it extra adorable. And I feel like that reading that inspires the DM to set that tone for the scene. So great job there.
Beautiful.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you went from your brainstorming ideas to this, like what the process in your mind was?
I mean, mostly just panic. I think I said something along the lines of like bell mimics, and I was like, that's the first choice. I'm not going to do that. And then I was like, oh, but what if like, sorry, what if I have like a Warforged? Because like I've seen lots of cool Warforged drawings of like sort of porcelain doll Warforged and things. So I was like, what if you had a Warforged who was covered in bells? Like that would be cool. So I just kind of had that image of like Sonora being covered in all these beautiful bells as an actual wedding bell. So that's kind of where, I was trying to work through like, okay, cool versions of wedding bell.
Yeah.
Basically.
If you, so you were able to get quite a bit down. There were 3 parts to this encounter. Had you had more time, if there be a particular part you wish you could have focused on more and expanded on?
I think the first section could maybe be a little bit more expanded, like how did you meet them in Shan? Did they come to the Adventuring Guild Tavern or something? Also, I'd quite like to make the item of the wedding ring. I think would be quite fun if I had time, but that's complicated, so I wasn't going to do that in 15 minutes.
But that would be really cool. Like a ceremony tied to it. There's
because
potentially-
priest can do a ceremony, right? Marriages, and it can have special effects. So like, you can do that with the ring.
And can I interject a thing here? As a person who loves magic item design, everybody talks. It requires attunement. Big deal. It's a short rest, whatever. To actually have like specific attunement things that accompany magic items in 5e, that is totally rad.
Yeah,
And I think
you'd have to attune it literally to yourself because you're a Warforged, so you'd like melt it on yourself. So that'd be
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had more time,
Cool.
I would obviously like to.
Oh yeah, I want to read that. Write it.
Omega, do you have any comments or questions for Philippa?
I just love this story. It's like an epic love of like help us be the one we are meant to be. I think that's just really cool. And making them more forged and making literally giving part of their body to like bond and just be together is just perfect. My question is there a potential for like a polyamorous relationship with Buttress, or like
Sure.
is he the automatic enemy? Like, I'm just
I
wondering.
mean, I was kind of imagining a little bit of like history between Patches and Buttress, like, ooh, you know, we used to be fighting together, but we're kind of like a little bit antagonistic. But you could totally like, I didn't write that down, so you could totally have a cute little Warforged polycule going on, like.
Look,
No.
love is love is love.
Exactly. If you talk to him round enough, I'm sure he'd be open to it.
Mm-hmm.
Bunker Man says Warforged dating sim. I'm here for this. Most of
I
my
love
D&D games
Buttress.
end up
I
as
love
dating
Buttress.
sims.
It's literally like just so it's good stuff.
I
Chris
mean,
says PC proposes to Buttress.
Mm-hmm.
we have to come up
Yeah.
with a name before the end of the stream. We have to brainstorm names for this Warforged dating sim. I feel like there's so much room for that.
Chat, you're on it. Omega, let's in the meantime chat about this rubric, which I think actually was starting out of the gate very much in Philippa's favor, because I mean we know they're tiny bells that are on this Warforged. Warforged are usually pretty big, so I'm like, what's the surface area in bells of a
If
Warforged?
they're covered in bells, it's like their entire being is to be bells.
Yeah.
They have a lot of bells.
Yeah, like I'm gonna just say a lot.
Yeah, just a lot.
A lot.
B equals 1.
Yeah. Okay. What about most interesting wedding ritual? On a
Literally
scale of wedding
pretty nifty.
crashers.
So I'm going to be fair. I want to give more because we have to think about it. We don't want to give all the eggs so quickly. But it's at least between a 3 and a 4 for ritual, because you literally took parts of yourself, you forged it into a ring, and that is binding. That is like a very intricate and very thoughtful ritual. Is it like, hexes and all that? No, but it's still something very personal and that has impact, I think. So I think at least a 3 in ritual. What about you?
I'm smirking because chat is coming up with names for the
I'm not looking at
dating
them.
sim.
I refuse. I've covered it up.
I think I also am between a 3 and 4.
Mhm.
Because I want to leave room for the other encounters. I'm going to say a 3 on this one.
I agree.
3 wedding crashers. And then for romance, I'm gonna, like, you saw my reaction at the beginning.
It's very romantic.
Yeah, it's very romantic.
It is
it's
on
they
the
kiss
nose
and it's
romantic.
cute at the end.
They do. They
Maybe
do.
cute.
Says.
It is explicitly cute.
And you're literally fighting for their love at the end, kind of.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
fighting to protect their love.
I
It's
almost-
There is
Never.
a cold black void where my heart used to be, and that is melting.
Big mood.
I almost never give a 5 for the first encounter, but I kind of want to give this a 5 romantic.
It can't not get a 5.
Okay, if someone else is
can't.
somehow more romantic, you can have a 6th wedding crasher. But
Right, it's fine.
But this is definitely a 5 wedding crasher romantic. Philippa, thank you for that absolute delight.
Thank you.
We are going to check out some other encounters here. Moving along to RP up next with Kiss the Bride. Walk us through.
I had mimics on the brain, and I've always wanted to use the Dread Gazebo.
Oh my goodness. No!
Oh,
So
no.
this
Oh,
is your
Jesus.
bog. There is no romance. There is no kiss the bride.
We will be we will decide this.
It is a wedding in Waterdeep, and there's catering off to one side. There's a pavilion. There's a string quartet because we're in the North Ward. There's a little bit of money to go around. Then it's the park. It's a green and pleasant land, and it's one of the only green and pleasant lands in Waterdeep that isn't the city of the dead, which is where you'd never ever want to be. So there's this young couple. They're getting married. Well, basically, what I had in my head that isn't on the paper, so I don't know if it counts, is really more two wealthy merchant houses merging. But we can flesh that out later, maybe. But unbeknownst to anyone, the bride's jealous ex is crashing the party. So the jealous ex has spent a dragon's fortune in money to the Zents to gather all the magic that money can buy and stuff it under the gazebo with the intent of turning it into this gigantic explosion and killing everyone. But it goes sideways. Because rather than going boom and blowing the gazebo and the wedding party and most of the guests halfway to Impilter, it animates the gazebo, which then starts to go nom nom, just about the point where the priest goes, marriage is what brings us together today. Blah, 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 blah. All hell breaks loose. And the PCs have to save the day. Scene.
If the characters have too easy a time, the catering tables and cutlery animate too.
Yeah, the win con is very simply don't let the wedding party get eaten.
Okay, but I would actually play that so hard.
Yeah.
Fighting a gazebo sounds amazing.
I put the stat block for a CR7 Dread Gazebo in there. The internet is replete with Dread Gazebo stat blocks. And they are all super cool. Like I will never forget the one time I actually ran my table up against actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf. And they got wrecked. Anyway, and it was supposedly, according to the CR calculator, an encounter they could win.
Consider running.
Nope. Anyway, yeah, instead of running. No, they should have run from actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf, but I think the CR calculator might have been off. Anyhow, I've always wanted to use a Dread Gazebo. The concept of the Dread Gazebo is something that has resonated with me ever since I first heard the term Dread Gazebo. So this was my one and only opportunity to ever use it in a public setting, and by God. Yeah, I wanted something that was going to be just out there where, you know, the players are sitting around the table going, why are we here? Do we know these people? Oh, hey, free food. Next thing you know, blah, 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 blah.
Awesome.
So romance, nil. Bells, 0.
We will decide on this.
Okay.
But first, I'm wondering,
the
what is it that draws you to the Dread Gazebo? Is there like a particular feature that you associate with it, or that you really like in the stat block that you've selected?
I'm a huge fan of tropes. I think that a lot of D&D design, modern D&D design, eschews tropes to their peril. Designers eschew tropes to their peril. For one thing, we never know when something we design is going to be the first thing a brand new player encounters. Mm-hmm. So that mimic to us is so tired, right? But to this brand new person who's never picked up a D20 before, they're going to go, dude, what was that? So I like to lean into tropes. And the mimic is one that I've always loved since, 1987 or so when I first started playing. It's always been something that's spoken to me, this thing that you just can't tell when it's coming. And yeah, the trope aspect of it is one thing. And I like to have things that come out of left field because I hate players to get complacent. Mm-hmm. And you never know. And in my worlds that I create they don't give a rat's behind about the player characters. That world is going to keep on turning no matter what they do until they get to, tier 4. Then the world will start paying attention. So, if things are just going to happen and they're going to have to react to them, or else terrible things are going to happen. And that's kind of where this comes from.
The picture of this gazebo seems pretty terrible.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that. Horrifying. I was looking straight at the stat block. Yeah, I think that the one I picked came from Reddit, I think.
For folks who aren't looking at the screen, or for our non-seeing friends, I'll describe it. It's like this giant, like monstrous pointy teeth creature clawing itself from the ground, and the gazebo is basically like its hat, but in a creepy way.
That's more of a Tarrasque.
Way. Yeah.
That's more of a Tarrasque than a CR7 gazebo, but still, yeah. But I remember when the Dread Gazebo thing started going around social media, and I'm like, I have to use that someday.
Awesome.
Now I can fulfill that vow.
some lovely little nuggets from chat. Plot twist: Buttress and the Dread Gazebo get married in the sequel. Love that.
Dude!
No one was
Love
ready
that.
for
Well,
this.
I don't know. I feel
I'm a-
Martin is more the one who would get attached to inanimate
I
objects.
want to know what happens to Martin.
Martin needs his own series anyway.
Oh my
Spin-off.
gosh. Al John Jones says the uvula of the gazebo could be a wedding bell that rings incessantly as it chews. That would be annoying and scary at the same time.
Bong.
Yeah. Okay, Omega, let's chat about this rubric.
Mm-hmm.
Number of bells. I mean, I'm taking a look at this stat block real quick, just in case it mentions a bell.
I mean,
think it does.
yeah, there's not really.
I think we're gonna have to give this least bells.
But there is
I
a
don't know how many
there
are gonna
is a
need
bride
Cassandra's.
who is a wedding belle.
BELLE.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take what I can get.
So that's like not even technically one. It's like if someone mistakes what a rubric is, like accidental one or something.
Wow.
0.5. 0.5.
Okay,
Wow.
fine. 0.5 bells.
If she was
0.5
my
bells.
DM, she'd be
I'm
giving, she'd be
being- I'm
taking
being
inspiration
generous.
away.
Yeah. All right. Most interesting ritual.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, there was magic used to animate this gazebo, and to the party, this could have been part of an elaborate thing. It just happened to not be.
It was certainly interesting, and it was a ritual.
It was a ritual
Not-
of some sorts.
Not part of the wedding ritual, but I suppose I didn't specify. Just
Not
like
necessarily.
yeah,
I
okay.
mean, it said most interesting. I mean, I guess the
You're
word
trying
it was
so much
it
to give
was
RP
wedding
wedding
ritual,
crashers.
but I say at least one. At least
Okay,
one.
I'm gonna give RP 1, and it's because his encounter
Pity.
had a wedding crasher in it, and that's this one.
Truth.
I'm putting it
Truth.
here.
Truth.
That I will take.
You're
That I
setting
will.
a dangerous
I will.
precedent for my encounter.
Uh-oh. What about for romance?
It's actually okay, but it is a wedding at the end of the day, so there is a base level of romance, and I think it's kind of romantic when the wedding, when the couple has to now fight together, to kind of make their love eternal. And I'm not
Okay.
bull crapping that one. Like I doubt these two individuals who they may be merchants or of merchant houses. But I doubt they're just going to sit there and not help. It's their wedding. I know if I was getting married and someone turned a dang gazebo into a monster, I'm mad. So I'm whipping out all my spells to fight. So I think there's a level. I'm gonna give 2.5 romanticness. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. That's where I'm going.
Okay, I'm gonna give it 2. So we'll average that to 2.25 wedding crashers. And wedding crashers might come in quarters when there's a dread gazebo. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
like a
hey,
halfling.
I'll take what I can get.
all right. Okay. With that and the comments from Cassandra, I'm very interested to roll over there. So RP, thank you very much for sharing your terrifying wedding encounter with us. Cassandra, tell us about the Queen's wedding.
So, the setup of the Queen's wedding is that they have been cordially invited to the wedding of Queens Maribeth and Delabar. However, there is trouble in paradise, as a long-forgotten arrangement with the Fae for peace and amnesty has been breached. And now, the Fae are here to get their revenge. It will be up to the adventurers to find out who at the party is Fae in disguise and here to sabotage the wedding. And first on the list, we have trouble at the banquet. We all know the dangers of eating food from the Feywild, probably. Here at the banquet, we have a whole bunch of guests who are having a bad time after eating some of the food. Some of them are hallucinating, speaking of strange visions, or shouting out their deepest secrets at the top of their lungs. What they do not know is that Magarl, a satyr with a bag of holding, has been switching out food. Oh, sure. Um,
Oh, thank you.
yeah. You can
Live
mess-
TV, folks.
Yeah, you can mess with the document if you want. If it needs to be bigger.
No, we're good. We're good.
Groovy. Magarl has disguised himself with a hat of disguise, and he has a bag of holding he has filled with Feywild delicacies. He is slipping into the banquet. The players have to catch him in the act, and by offering him delicacies from the banquet itself, they bind him into an agreement of Feywild etiquette, because as now a guest of the wedding, he must behave himself.
I love
Um,
that.
Secondly, we have Horseshoes and Hags.
Hello again, Cassandra. It's just you and me right now, as folks might notice. Last we left off, we were in the midst of your describing your wonderful encounter, the Queen's wedding, when you gave away some Feywild secrets on how to defeat might be a strong word, but at least counter the challenges of some Fey. And then the entire town that I'm in lost power, which makes this a pretty powerful encounter, I think. Voters keep that in mind. But I did want to give you a chance to walk us through the rest of it.
Okay, and I am excited to. So we'll pick up from where we left off, which is right
Yeah.
around the Horseshoes game.
Mhm.
In the tradition of these weddings, there is always a spirited game of horseshoes on the field. Wedding guests and various staff alike all step away and make time to make sure that they can compete. There are prizes to be won, and mostly it's an exciting time for everybody to get together. However, this year, a woman by the name of Mina has been dominating all afternoon, driving everyone away, and quite frankly, being a little bit of a sore thumb about it. She's actually a green hag in disguise, here to ruin the wedding, and to do this, she has replaced the iron horseshoes with glamored wooden ones. She is using her magic to control their flight through the air. If the party can find the iron horseshoes, which are hidden nearby in the bushes, they can distract her long enough to substitute them in and then challenge her to a game. They can't defeat her, as she finds it very uncomfortable to touch those iron horseshoes. Once they defeat her, she sulks away in anger and upset, finally clearing the field for someone else to win around for once.
Another Feywild secret revealed. Let me just check. Okay, I don't think
We
I'm in any
good?
danger today.
All right, excellent. It's only getting better from here.
Yeah.
Then, after that, we have the ring in return. The adventurers spot the ring bearer, a young girl, looking distraught and searching through the wedding, digging through the bushes and poking around in the flowers. If they don't come up to her, she approaches the adventurers and begs for their help, as she can't find the ring, and if she tells anybody, she's going to get in so much trouble for losing it. She swears she had it a moment ago, but she went into the rose bush maze, and now she's lost it. If the adventurers do go to the maze to investigate, they find 6 sprites excitedly tossing around their new favorite toy, the beautiful wedding ring. They like their newfound treasure, and they don't want to give it up. Mischievous little things, they cannot be threatened into compliance, as they take any threat as a joke. They can, however, be bartered with or fooled. If they can be persuaded that a gift offered is more valuable than the ring itself, they will gladly give it up in exchange. Alternatively, a brave character could try to sneak up and steal it out of the air as they're tossing it back and forth. If they're attacked, the sprites fly out of reach and use their sleep arrows to try and drive the adventurers out of the rose maze.
Oh, so cute.
Lastly, if the party decides that, maybe these Fae have a bit of a point, and maybe they have a good reason for being here, they can track down among the guests a spring Eladrin by the name of Tyla. This Eladrin was the one who called to have the Fae show up at the wedding in exchange for the slights that the family has put against them in the past years. They're upset about the Queen sending loggers into land that has been negotiated as Fae in nature, and can potentially be persuaded to call off the ongoing trouble if the Queens can be convinced to stop sending their people into Fae forests.
I love that you gave them like an underlying motivation. So this, depending on how the players want to do this, how much story they try to explore, this can just be a fun, like mischievous Fae romp, or they could find out what those underlying motivations are. I also feel like you did such a good job of giving all the different Fae like such personalities, like that the hag is being a sore loser gives the DM so much to play off of, and I love that you gave instructions on how the sprites like might interact with the players differently depending on their approach. I really loved that. You got so many different mini encounters packed into one. If you had more time, how would you somehow have expanded on this, or where would you have spent more time?
I absolutely, well, for one, I would have fit in more bells, as I learned that was my mistake. But mostly, I would have wanted to expand on actually seeing the players take the side of the Fae and resolve the political consequences going on there. Because as much as it is fun to just do a little thing where we go around and we foil a bunch of Fae at a wedding and like fix the wedding crasher situation, I also think there's a bit of a fun little Fae political game going on, and there is nothing more compelling than Fae court politics. They are so weird and so fun, and I would love to see players engage with them. So I wish I'd had more time to make that whole section not just an afterthought. I wanted it to be more than just a paragraph at the end. So that's definitely where I would expand.
All right. And goodness, I feel like several days ago now, we had talked about what of your design style we might see. What do you think actually came through? What's reminiscent of both your design style and process, or was it completely different because it's Dash?
I'd say this is a little bit different from my usual, but not that much. As I said, I like to take the tropes of like classic RPG stuff and sort of flip it on its head. And this is sort of your like classic Fae plot of a bunch of Fae causing trouble and making a mess, and the adventurers have to go around and solve it. But I also included like that little bit of maybe the adventurers side with the Fae. Maybe the adventurers see something wrong with what the nobles are doing. Maybe they've got a little bit of doubt about who they're helping here. That's what I like to do. I like to straddle that line between like old school classics and like the modern ideas about role playing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the thing that I was able to bring forth.
Oh, absolutely. Since you did get cut off during our live recording, I wanted to give you a chance, if you have a sentence or two, any words you'd like to share with the voters before this VOD goes up. Or I guess they'll go getting it after the VOD goes up. Anyway, what do you have to say to the folks voting in the poll about why they should vote for the Queen's wedding?
Ooh, everybody loves a Wedding Crashers story. I'm just saying. Like, I may have cut it short on bells, but I know I made it up to you in every way with what I did bring.
Oh, that's true.
Besides,
Yeah.
horseshoes kind of make a bell sound. It counts.
What about glamored wooden ones, though?
Probably less so. That's why you gotta go get the iron ones. They make that satisfying cling.
Yeah, that bell sound. And what words do you have for RP or Philippa? They're not here to defend themselves. But do you have anything you'd like to say to them as you head into the poll?
Philippa, that if you ever come around and want to make that Warforged dating sim, just saying, I'm here. Always down to write that kind of gay thing. And RP, never forget the story of Eric and the Dread Gazebo. And I hope I get to play in a game with you, because having edited your work, you seem like a nightmare GM, but a very fun one.
That was sort of terrifying, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah. And I guess on that note, we'll wrap up here. I want to say that Cassandra, yours was certainly the most Wedding Crashers encounter. RP, if he were here, I would say would be the most dread encounter. Potentially least romantic, although Omega was trying to vie for the romance points for that one, or the potential romance points facing that encounter. And Philippa, hands down, most bells. So many bells.
Absolutely.
A lot of bells.
So many bells.
Yeah. Cassandra,
really
where can folks find you?
Most of my work is either on the DMs Guild or on Drive-Thru RPG. And I can be found on Twitter at the Ice Queer, all one word. If you would like to get in touch with me directly, please reach out to me. Tell me your opinions on various shellfish and insects. I like bugs. Tell me your favorite bug.
Fun fact. I like it. Our other contestants, RP Davis, can be found on Twitter at KabouterRPG. It is spelled on the screen here for folks. I learned during the pre-show how to pronounce it, so there you go. And Philippa can be found at Mort Philippa. I want to say a special thank you to Omega Jones, who helped co-host the live recording of this show, and you can find him at Critical Bard everywhere. And I am Lysa Penrose, the brand manager of Dungeon Masters Guild, which you can follow at DMs_guild on Instagram and Twitter, and you can follow me personally at Lysa Penrose. Cassandra, thank you again for making a little bit of time so we could finish hearing about your encounter, and good luck to you, RP, and Philippa as the poll goes up later this week.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye, everyone.